Hey guys, it's Matthew here with another video for y'all. I am back. It has been a long time since I've posted any video at all on the Matthewsic channel because I've either been too busy with my trick shot YouTube channel and or schoolwork, so I've had to put this on the back burner. I guess you guys saw my most recent update, which was the last video, and I probably explained something slightly different, but anyways, for this video, this is the 5th episode of the Deconstructing the Music series, episode number 5. And you guys might be wondering, Matthew, you've already done episode 5 of this series. Why are you doing it again? Well, I have a couple reasons to give. One is because it's been a long time since I've done an episode of this series, and, you know, the original episode 5, I think, was last year sometime. I think it was in, like, November, or maybe even before that. I can't even remember off the top of my head. And number 2 is because I would like to improve upon these videos, and I feel like I could do a better job of making these kind of episodes. And I definitely remember in the original episode 5 that I struggled a lot, I think, with the different sections in the song, more specifically. I haven't even watched the original episode 5 in forever, so in order to make this video happen, I basically am like starting from scratch, and that's technically what I've done. I put the whole thing together, talking about the different tracks from Cram It, and I did say at the end of the original episode 5 that I was actually planning to make a separate episode, which is going to be called episode 5.5, quote unquote, which basically means I talk about a different set of isolated tracks and just explore what sounds good in those stems versus the 5.0, I guess, is where I would talk about this stuff from Cram It. So 5.0 is talking about Cram It, which is this episode, and Rock Band / Guitar Hero stems will be talked about in a 0.5 episode. So 5.5 in the case of this song, and it is the 5th song off of Dream Theater's Octavarium album, which is titled Panic Attack. So let's go ahead and get into the intro of the song and stop this intro of the video so we can save time. All right, here we go. Okay, once the full band starts playing the cycle again, basically the main riff, like after 6 measures of the full band being in the intro, there's actually another keyboard that comes in. Unfortunately, this keyboard is not available in the Keys 1 or Keys 2 track files. It's actually in the backing track, so let's listen to what that sounds like. It's probably a little more audible in the original, so I'm actually going to play those back to back. So here we go. Okay, going on with the next part of the song, what you just heard was John Petrucci playing a guitar on the left, just one guitar, for the first few measures, and that part is the beginning of the pre-verse section, because it's basically setting up for the verse, just like a pre-chorus is like a ramp up into the chorus. So this is the pre-verse section with just the guitars. Now for the last 4 measures of the pre-verse section, there's actually 2 keyboard tracks that are played by Jordan Rudess. Now we're on to the verse, which is, of course, where the vocals come in, so let's listen to the vocals isolated.
All wound up on the edge, terrified, sleep disturbed, restless mind petrified, bouts of fear permeate all I see, heightening nervousness threatens me.
All wound up on the edge, terrified, sleep disturbed, restless mind petrified, bouts of fear permeate all I see, heightening nervousness threatens me. I am paralyzed, so afraid to die.
I am paralyzed, so afraid to die. I am paralyzed, so afraid to die.
After the verse, we come to the first interlude, which is where you hear a cymbal roll, a new keyboard sound, a low note from the bass, simple chords from the guitar just like droning through. So I'm going to start out with my favorite parts, which are the keyboards, especially the new sound that I'm going to talk about in a second. It's a choir sort of sample from the keyboards. So let's get into the files first. Now for the keyboard that is not available in the Keys 1 or Keys 2 files.
Worries grow. Why do I
Now we finally come to the first chorus of the song, so here are the vocals isolated first.
Why do I feel so numb? Is it something to do with where I come from? Should this be fight or flight? I don't know why I'm constantly so uptight. Why do I feel so numb? Is it something to do with where I come from? Should this be fight or flight? I don't know why I'm constantly so uptight.
Okay, for the keyboard tracks, we have the return of the mono synth that you hear near the beginning of the song. And also the acoustic piano again, and I absolutely love Jordan Rudess's playing on this part, especially those accents, the da 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 da. That part right there, so let's listen to that too. After the chorus, we come to the part where the full band does the intro again, so here are some highlights from that section.
I don't know why I'm constantly so uptight.
Okay, now we're on to the second pre-verse, and one thing that I noticed that I did not notice before is that the time signature is actually in 6/8, whereas the first pre-verse alternates between 5/8 and 6/8. So I'm going to play the original track with those two sections back to back, and then I'm going to talk about the isolated parts in the second pre-verse. So let's go over the original track first of just the two sections. So here we go. Now we come to the second verse of the song, and this is a lot different than the first verse, and the rhythm goes like it's hard for me to actually sing that. It's not something that James LaBrie sings, but it's a lot different than that's how verse 1 sounds like. So verse 2 is different than that, if you guys know the song really well. So let's go over what I think are the best isolated parts, starting with the guitars.
Rapid heartbeat pounding through my chest, agitated body in distress. I feel like I'm in danger. Daily life is strangled by my stress.
Rapid heartbeat pounding through my chest, agitated body in distress. I feel like I'm in danger. Daily life is strangled by my stress. A stifling surge shooting through all my veins. Extreme apprehension, suddenly I'm insane.
A stifling surge shooting through all my veins. Extreme apprehension, suddenly I'm insane. A stifling surge shooting through all my veins. Extreme apprehension, suddenly I'm insane.
Now for the last two lines of the second verse, when listening to the original album mix, I was able to hear another sort of organ sound. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that's something that I heard, and for some reason that is not even in the No Keys backing track files, so I'm going to play the part that I'm talking about and see if you can hear it.
Extreme apprehension, suddenly I'm insane. No strong for redemption. A great situation, desperate at best.
So let me know if you guys can hear that, because unfortunately it's not available in Kramit. However, it actually is available in the Rock Band 2 stems, but it's, I'm pretty sure, mixed with the other keyboards, so it's not like it's available by itself. So now we come to the second interlude of the song, and the only difference I could find versus the first one was that the violin synth actually plays on that part, which, you know, does the da 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 da. It does that with the choir sounding keyboard. And like I had mentioned, those are not in the Keys 1 and Keys 2 files, so it's in the backing track, so we can listen to that. The other instruments are pretty much the same throughout the second interlude and chorus, except for at the end of the chorus, James LaBrie sings, "I don't know why I'm constantly reeling." He does that instead of "so uptight," instead of that. So now we come to the bridge part of the song, so let's start with hearing the drums isolated first, because I absolutely love Mike Portnoy's kick drum pattern on that. Now, I did say earlier that you can't hear the violin synth by itself, but actually in this case, in the bridge, you actually can. That's because there's no organ playing during that part, so keys 1 has space to include the synth, whereas on keys 2, you hear the piano like normal. So let's listen to those two tracks.
Constantly reeling, helpless, hysteria, a false sense of urgency, trapped in my phobia, possessed by anxiety. Run, try to hide, overwhelmed by this complex delirium. urgency. My phobia. Anxiety.
The last thing that stood out to me about the bridge was what's going on in the no keys backing track. So, you guys already know that the violin synth is being played in the keys 1 track and the piano in the keys 2, but what happens if you remove those 2 tracks and cram it? So I don't know if you guys were able to notice, but for some reason the violin synth still seems to be in the backing track even if you remove the fader of the keys 1 file. I'm like, what? Like, how is that even possible? My guess is that it was probably just a glitch that happens with the Kramit company, or maybe they just like forgot to remove that synth track from the actual backing track file, or it's possible that Jordan Rudess actually did double on the violin synth. I'm not even sure, so my best guess is that it was just a mistake on Kramit's part, so yeah. Not to mention that there's also another synth sound in the backing track that plays an arpeggio kind of lick. I don't know if you guys were able to tell. It's a little percussion sort of sound. I don't know how to describe it, but see if you can hear it in the backing track. After the bridge, the band goes into the intro again, and after 4 measures, the guitars go up an octave, so let's hear that. Next is the transition part of the song, according to Kramit, where the rhythm goes like that, which I think is really cool, so let's start with the drums first. The next part of the song is the keyboard solo, and I'm pretty sure the sound of the solo is the same monosynth sound that you've heard before, only I think this is an overdubbed track because I'm noticing on the keys 1 file that it sort of like cuts into the solo, so I'm going to go back a few measures and play the solo isolated, so here we go. One thing I didn't notice underneath the keyboard solo was that the guitars and bass are actually playing the same riff as they were doing in the transition. So the transition is actually in 12/16. I was able to look this up on the Kramit sheet music, and that's how you count the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's in 12/16. And then when the solo comes, that's in just 3/4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just the same riff through the transition and the solo, which I had no idea about. So anyways, let's listen to that. Little did I know, this also happens in the guitar solo as well. So I'm going to isolate the guitar solo first and then add the rhythm guitars and bass with it afterwards. So here we go. After the guitar solo, we have the synth and lead guitar basically playing the interlude melody line, the da 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 da, except this time they're playing two different harmonies. So I'm going to play them one at a time and then I'm going to play them together. So here we go. After that, we hear the final bridge, the final intro, I guess outro ending, and then the ending that is unfortunately cut out from Cram It, which we're going to get to in a second. So in the No Keys backing track on the second bridge, you can hear that arpeggio kind of synth once again that I had mentioned earlier, but you can also hear apparently an extra violin synth again. So something really tells me that Jordan actually did double that on purpose. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but this is the part I'm talking about. Now for the outro, the full band actually plays the intro cycle twice, and I'm pretty sure the second time around, Mike Portnoy really plays his double kicks so fast that it's hard to like keep up and like count the number of beats at the studio tempo. So I'm gonna play that part I'm talking about because I think that's really cool in the outro. Now the ending that is unfortunately cut from Cram It and also cut from Rock Band 2. It's the part where the keyboards pan from speaker to speaker. I'm pretty sure it's the mono synth with the dow, that kind of sound effect at the end. I'm pretty sure it's that plus the violin synth that pans from speaker to speaker. Maybe the guitars too, but all I could really hear was the keyboards. And then eventually a new synthesizer solo starts about 5 times after it pans. And there's like some effects followed after that too. So let's take a listen to that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know this video was so long, but thank you all if you guys made it to the end all the way through the video. It definitely is just about as long as the original episode. If you, for whatever reason, feel like I did better in the original episode, click on the link below in the description and you can check that out. I'm planning on posting episode 5.5 tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button so I can keep up these episodes and improve on these. And be sure to subscribe. That would mean so much to me. And be sure to subscribe to my Trick Shot YouTube channel, Matthew Shots, because I'm also at work on that channel as well. So anyways, I will see you guys in the next episode, episode 5.5. And then finally, we're on to the song Never Enough, which is in episode 6. But I'm going to talk about that later. So anyways, I'll see you guys then. Take care.